Upgrade, ready, upgrade. Extend T-Mobile lets you upgrade its offers every year. Switch to T-Mobile and get the new Samsung Galaxy S24 with Galaxy AI on us with no trade-in required. It's time. Yes, the time has come.
$21 to 7, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chiefs gonna revenge that loss they had.
Would it be ironic if it was Detroit and Chiefs?
Well, Chiefs done their part. Detroit doing their part.
Yeah. It might just be.
Yeah.
Fuck San Francisco.
It's gonna look like shit.
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
Ben, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
How's everybody doing? Sorry about doing this on a football night. I guess I didn't plan it very good. Hey, Ben, if you can hear me, Eric Swift's got his hand up, I believe.
Yes.
Can you find out what he asking or wants to know?
Mark, he can hear you, so he can answer.
Okay.
He just unmute himself. But yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We got about a minute, guys, and then we're going to get going, and people can join in. If they get on a little late, that's fine. Looks like we got 55 guys on so far.
Hey, Mark, while we're waiting, this is Fetch. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine.
Thank you.
Ten seconds and counting, and we're going to get going here.
Sorry, I just hit the wrong button there. My bad.
No problem. All right. I've got 7 o'clock. We're going to get going. Like I said, sorry about football tonight, but we'll kind of keep this short and sweet. Thanks for joining. And like I said, as people get on, we'll just keep going. It's going to be recorded. So if anybody wants to review this, or if anybody reaches out to somebody and let them know that they can go in and watch this. So tonight we got Commissioner Novomich from the GLVC. He's going to talk first. Then we got Rich Fetchit, founder of the CBUA, and he's going to speak. And John Brower, the NCAA Division II coordinator, is going to go after Rich. And then Rick Allen's going to go over rules. It's not a rules change year, but he's going to just go over some stuff that he thinks is important to freshen up on. And then Donnie's going to talk to his guys, and then I'll talk to my staff, and we'll close from there. If you have questions for Rick, you're going to send him. There's a link that you send your questions to. He will answer those, and then we will send them out to everybody. So that'll help the meeting go along a little smoother tonight. So with that being said, Jim, if you're ready to go, the floor is yours.
Hey, Mark, thanks very much. Thanks everybody for carving out some time. I'm in Indianapolis, so it's 8 o'clock and close to bedtime. And just a heads up, whoever's got Detroit 1, San Francisco 7 in your boxes, somebody's winning some money at halftime. So thanks again for your work in the GLVC. I want to officially welcome Mark is our new coordinator of baseball umpires, taking over for John Brower. And John did a terrific job for the league during his tenure. So kudos to John with his new gig at the NCAA. I know he will represent Division II in a great fashion, just as he did the GLVC when he was representing us. And Mark comes to the GLVC highly recommended by both John and Fetch. And so when those two guys gave me their endorsement, it was a pretty easy decision. So Mark, congratulations. My official welcome to you to the Great Lakes Valley Conference. We're anxious to work with you this season. I'll keep this pretty brief. Just a couple of housekeeping items for the umpires that don't know me. I'm in my 23rd season as commissioner of the GLVC. I'm the only left-handed Lithuanian commissioner in the NCAA. So you can brag about that when you've got some time over a beer some point. We have Upper Iowa is new to the league this year. So for our returning umpires, we will be venturing north to Fayette, Iowa this year. So we look forward to welcoming Upper Iowa as our 14th member. We only have one new coach in the league, and he's at University of Illinois Springfield. Otherwise, it's the returning cast of characters remains the same. As a reminder, we play a 4-game series in the GLVC, and umpires, just please keep in mind that the first game of every series has got to be played as a 9-inning contest. That is a tiebreaker for us at the end of the year. And so there was some confusion, especially early on in the season, where we had some games that were starting out as double headers and they were being played as 7-inning contests. So if there's any question as you get to the start of a series for that first game, please reach out to Mark or myself to get clarification on if there's some confusion. There shouldn't be with our coaches anymore because, like I said, other than the new coach at UIS, everybody's been in the league now. We did make a couple other changes. The last weekend of the regular season will be played as a Friday-Saturday 4-game series rather than Saturday-Sunday. So I think Mark has probably alerted you to that. The reason for doing so is that our tournament is now going to be played Wednesday through Saturday rather than Thursday through Sunday. So we made an adjustment on that last weekend of the regular season to account for pitching rotations going into the tournament. Our GLVC tournament will be back at Mountain Dew Park in Marion, Illinois. And I think the crew that we had last year was outstanding, as they've always been in our tournament. It was a really good facility, and they took really good care of us. So that's in Marion, Illinois, 8-team double elimination tournament. It is a grind for the umpire and the championship staff, with 4 games Wednesday, 4 games Thursday, 4 games Friday. And then depending on how those last 2 games Friday play out, we can either have 1 or 3 on Saturday. So those are just a couple of housekeeping notices. And for any of you that are new to the league, please keep in mind that the conference has a ejection game suspension policy. So if a coach, an assistant coach, a student athlete, if they're ejected from a game, they are immediately suspended for the follow-up contests. So this supersedes any NCAA rule that would say, they can come back the next game. And I just share that with you, not to dissuade you from giving somebody the heave-ho if they deserve it, but just understand that it's not just that game that they're being ejected from. They will be suspended for the following contest. So if that's the second game of a doubleheader, if it's for the series finale on Sunday, so be it. And having said that, I expect that our student athletes and coaches treat each one of you with dignity and respect. That's my expectation for umpires back to them. But I don't want any of our institutional reps or our student athletes to feel as though they can slight you in any way, to be disrespectful, to curse you. At that point, they've earned whatever they've got coming from our umpires. I will support you 100% in that regard. And I will work closely with Mark, why do I keep calling you Rick? I apologize. It's late on the East Coast time. But I will support the umpires. We want to make sure that it's a good environment for both teams. We do ask that our contest administrators from each of our schools identify themselves when you get to the field. So if there is an issue with spectators or there's an issue with the facility, you folks know who to reach out to and contact so that our host schools can accommodate whatever the needs are. So Mark, that's all my spiel. I'm happy to entertain any questions that you or Fetch or any of the umpires have. Did I cover everything that you wanted?
Yeah, you did fine. You did great, Jim. And just so you know, I've been called a lot worse, so that's not a problem. But I work basketball in the GLVC, and Jim's been a great supporter of officials at the basketball, and he will be in baseball too. So appreciate your time. And is it Rick, or I call you Rick? Rich, do you have anything you want to add to what Jim has had to say?
No, just that I enjoyed my years working as a coordinator of the GLVC and working directly with Jim and for Jim, and he is very supportive, and I think it's nice to know that you got the conference commissioner and the conference office behind you when you take the field in this conference. So thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Fetch. Good seeing you, man.
Good seeing you, sir.
Okay, guys, and those policies that he was talking about are on the CBUA under links, under Central Hub. So if you need to reference those, that's where you'll find those. So, all right, well, we'll move on to Fetch. You
Thanks,
got the
Mark.
table.
And thanks to everybody for allowing me a few minutes tonight. First, compliments to all of you that are on this call. I realize you give up some family time to do this kind of stuff, but it's always appreciated. You know, Mark asked me to spend some time talking about the CBUA, and so many of you guys are members. I realize not everybody's a member, but so many of you guys have been a part of this for a long time. There's probably not a lot for me to cover, but I do want to cover a little bit of ancient history, and in a second here, I'll tell you why. Mark had, and then the other second thing I'll talk about is a little bit about what I look for and how we can help some of you guys move down the career path with some possible consideration for D1 assignments and things like that. Let me just go back real quick on this CBUA thing and talk about where we were in the state of college baseball. And I guess we got Don King on, who will remember this, and Brower and everybody that will remember all this stuff intimately. Back in the early 90s, when the NCAA started an umpire program, they completely ignored Division II and III back in those days. It's like we didn't exist. And it was basically a Division I umpire improvement program. And when that was in the early to mid 90s. In the mid 90s, when I kind of created out of scratch the CBUA, it was really, I felt an obligation. I had 5 or 6 Division I conferences, and the guys that were umpiring for me at the time were being well taken care of by the NCAA stuff. But at the same time, I felt like we're producing all these materials. We're producing a national clinic every year. We're doing rules testing. We have, you know, it was the early years of some video plays. And like I said, Donnie and John, and a lot of people remember some of this stuff. But we were doing all this, and everybody working D2 and D3 was being ignored in the process. So one of our first initiatives when we formed our group, I was fortunate to have just enough clout because I had the Big Ten and several other Division I conferences that I could kind of use that to bring our group together for the benefit of all college umpires at all levels. And one of the things we experienced back in the day, and geez, I know Donnie will remember this, and geez, the people out of Indianapolis will sure remember, we had fiefdoms all over the Midwest. We had, this guy had 5 schools, and this guy had 6 schools, and this guy had 2 schools. And over here in this conference, nobody had anything. Coaches were hiring their own. It was very renegade. It was a lot of people fighting against each other to assign games or to get games. Coaches paying less money than they ever should have been paying. Things like that. So when we pulled the CBUA together, I certainly didn't want it to look like a union, but I wanted to bring us together for the betterment of all of us. And quite frankly, it was really the Division II and Division III umpires that were at the forefront for me. We had a lot of guys, like I said, with their, you know, I use Indianapolis, and many guys will remember there were a couple of signers there that were you know, fighting for schools and fighting for leagues and conferences. And what ended up happening, they were undercutting each other. Well, what was that to? And umpires are getting paid less because of an assigner who wanted to control something. So I worked probably the first 20 years of the CBUA just to try to break down some of those barriers, to try to support all of our small conferences as well as our D1 conferences, to provide a place where all of our assignments and calendaring and rostering and evaluations can come to one place, and which was Arbiter, which of course now is expanded to RefQuest, and now we have to keep 2 databases updated. But the point was, it was to better the situation for umpires. And I know Donnie and John remember the days when they looked at us like we were crazy when we asked for a locker room. Or can we have some towels? And can we have some towels in the locker room, or possibly some refreshments? And you guys now benefit from all the battles we all fought individually and collectively. And that was kind of the whole point of calling the CBUA the Collegiate Baseball Umpires Alliance. I was trying to form all of us together as allies, and rather than fighting against each other and undercutting each other, that we could come together. And boy, it wasn't perfect, and it's still not perfect. But if you look at the progress we've made, taken, I can't tell you how many conferences from 2-man to 3-man, from 3-man to 4-man, instituting video review in recent years, just all these kinds of things. Fees, game fees were horrendous. And over time, by sticking together and working with each other, sometimes one school at a time, one conference at a time, we've bettered the situation. Again, back to the training materials. We now do a weekly training tape. We now make sure everybody from JUCO on up to D1 understands about the clinic and understands about taking the test and things that all the small conference umpires were ignored on in the early years. So the CBUA has kind of led the country as a consortium to get these kinds of things done. And so I just wanted to give that little bit of history so that you understand. And the reason I'm talking about the ancient history here a little bit is, you know, Mark and some people have told me there are a couple guys down in the area, and maybe you're on the call right now, that, you know, don't understand, well, you know, what do I need to, why would I need to join a CBUA? What's it ever done for us? Well, it's done more than you probably will ever know. And, you know, we get some guys, and it's kind of interesting. I've got about probably 40 plus, almost maybe 50 former AAA umpires working in our organization. I think I got 8 or 9 guys with big league experience. You know, Mark's being one of our ex-AAA umpires. And it's never those guys that have a problem. It seems like it's always some guy moving up from high school, or some young buck coming out of his 1 year or 2 years in single A, and you know, has not proven anything to anybody yet in our world, but yet he's God's gift to umpiring, and he's going to badmouth what we're doing and question those kinds of things. So anyways, it's really for the benefit of everybody, and I hope it continues to be that way. We've got Mark Ewell running it administratively now. I've stepped out of that. I've turned some of my conferences over to other people, because I just want to focus on the 5 that I have in my retirement years here, and for my real job. And so I want to do a better job, and for one and all. So that was just a little bit of a brief history I felt like I owed you guys at Mark's request, because a lot of guys weren't around in those days and don't understand the battles we fought, and quite frankly, the battles we continue to fight for, you know, for things like video review, like TrackMan, which really, those are the kinds of things that will lead me into. Mark just asked me to spend a minute or two, and I won't keep you long, believe me. I know everybody wants to get back to the second half of the football game, including me. I've waited 66 years here in Detroit to see our Lions play in a championship game. So being the only NFL team that's never played in the Super Bowl, I at least got to catch some of the second half. About what I'm looking for, and most of you guys, I've met so many of you guys at clinics over the years, and you know, John Brower has been a godsend for me as far as telling me about who the D2 guys are that can work in the middle part of the country, and he very rarely steers me wrong. You know, and now I'm so happy that he's got the national job. And by the way, speaking of the CBUA and John Brower and the national job, NCAA Division I coordinator, George Drush's CBUA. Division II, John Brower, CBUA. Scott Taylor before him, CBUA. Division III, Donnie Umblin, CBUA. NCAA Secretary Rulesetter, CBUA. So I just kind of have a feeling we're doing something right, and we're having a pretty damn good influence across the country. About 2,700 umpires registered with the NCAA right now, and about 50% of them are our membership. So we have a pretty big impact, and they listen to us when we ask for things. So I just thought I'd point that out. But real quickly on what I'm looking for, and a lot of you guys have heard me talk about this. First of all, I like professional people. I like good family people. I like people who have a little bit of balance in their life. And I like guys that obviously take umpiring very seriously and work very hard at it, but I don't want it to be all encompassing to the point where you're so driven for your next game that you maybe try to step on some people, or not be a good partner, or not be a good crew guy. And those things are important. So I'm looking for people with balance in their lives that take their officiating very seriously. If you work another sport, that's even better. Rounds you out nicely. And I really like to see guys that are business-like in their approach on the field. And by business-like, I don't mean being a prick and being a hard guy, tough guy. We get enough of that when we brought Mark Winters back to college baseball. But even Mark Winters has softened up a little bit for us now. Okay, so even Mark understands today's world of college sports, in all sports, but in baseball, you got to be a little bit more approachable. You got to be a little softer than I was in the old days. But I learned over the course of my career that you got to be approachable. You can't bark at people. You can't be arrogant. Flip side, you can't be Mr. Friendly and running for mayor every time you're out on the baseball field. So I'm looking for guys with a business-like approach that are professional in their communication skills, that handle the tough situations. You know, there's not a huge difference between all of us. Ball strike, safe out, fair foul. There's a little bit of, some guys are better than others, but the bottom line is the real difference makers is everything else. How you handle people, how you handle situations, your professionalism. And of course, this goes for off the field also. Here's the biggest thing that's coming your way if it hasn't already. And this is for guys that are on their way matriculating up. And this is even for guys that maybe will spend the rest of their career at Division II, Division III. Because whatever happens at our level, it's sooner or later it gets to you. And the two big things right now are video review and TrackMan. And then overall, in more of a general statement about simply accountability. So now we're at the point now where most of our Division I conferences, and I, quite frankly, probably half of your schools that you're working are running a TrackMan system at their stadium. And, within 5 minutes of a game ending, they know every called pitch was correct or incorrect. So we are, the CBUA, for example, has been very involved with Paul Gillier in the Southeast Conference and the other coordinators around the country to spearhead this new NCAA strike zone initiative, so that we get some leeway on the buffer zone, 2-inch buffer zone around the rectangle that you see on TV, so that we can be judged and evaluated, correct call and so on, the same way as MLB evaluates their umpires post game. But the coaches are looking at these things. They're looking at every pitch you call. They're making judgments about you after the game. And they're keeping trends on you. This guy's a low ball plate man. This guy's, goes wide. They're getting to the point where these kind of analytics now are at their fingertips. So that's one of the big things that you have to be able to handle when you come up to the next level, and maybe sooner than you think, because it's coming your way. And then, of course, the use of video review, not just understanding all the nuances of the rule, but being able to understand the pressure that's on you when you go in there to look at something on review. We all kick our share on the field, but and quite frankly, we miss a few on video review once in a while. But to most coaches and ADs and people watching on TV, they consider that almost impossible. You got 3, 4, 5 angles. You got slow motion, reverse angle. How can you not get it right? So video review is another thing. If you've never worked with it, but if you see it coming your way, or you've got a chance to move up into a game, make sure you're staying on top of those kinds of rules. So those are a couple of the things. And I guess just the final thing I'd want to say is two things. Off-field behavior, whether it be on a conference weekend when you're out somewhere, staying around a hotel, out at a pub, whatever you might do after the game. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's monitoring social media. And I've had more guys burn themselves for silly, ridiculous off-field behavior and things they put on Facebook and Twitter. I don't even have a social media account. I have a LinkedIn. That's about it. And I don't even know how or why I got that. But the stuff that gets put on there, you're burying yourself sometimes with some of the things you say and do. And certainly your behavior off the field, gambling issues, DUI, stuff like that can really, really come to follow you and hurt you bad. So think about those things. Think about your professionalism. Think about the way you're observed in your communities, whether it be your work community, your family community, whatever it is, and represent like you should be representing when you're talking about being a collegiate official in America, because everybody's watching your every move. And then on the field, the same thing with accountability. It's like, and Mark and people have been around, Rick Allen, they'll tell you, it's phenomenal, the scrutiny at something like a Big 10 or a Big 12 baseball game. Anywhere from 5 to 7 camera angles on every play, TrackMan on every pitch, the pressure of fans sometimes, who's going to get to the next level. Coaches make, in Big 12, I think we had 3, 4, 5 coaches making $1 million a year. When you're making $1 million a year as a baseball coach, you aren't going to take kindly if an umpire gets a call that costs you a game, because they're fighting for the livelihood and the livelihood of their staffs and families and things like that. So that's probably the biggest thing there. That at the end is the accountability and the ability to react and umpire under pressure in a calm and professional way. So those are just some general guidelines that I look for. Mark, is there anything else you'd like me to cover? Have I hit the topics you wanted?
You did a great job. Absolutely, 100%. What you said was perfect. Guys, he's the best guy in the country to work for. I'm not saying that because you're on the call right now, but he's very supportive, very fair. Just wants honesty. So, Fetch, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Go back and watch the
Got to see if the Lions can hang on.
Yeah.
So, fellas, anybody that's on this call, I think you all know this, but you can email me anytime. I'm very responsive. If you have questions about anything, just send me an email, and I will get back to you. And again, to my longtime colleagues, Don King and John Brower and people like that, and Rick Allen, who's coming on now, and Mark, thank you very much for having me, and it's good seeing you guys.
Thanks, Fetch.
Take care.
Thanks, Fetch.
Okay, John, you're up. You ready?
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Mark.
Yep.
Hey, first I want to thank Jim Namovich and all the umpires that worked for me the last 7 years that I had the league. I appreciate all the hard work and dedication, beating the highway quite a bit. And the only thing I ask from you guys is do the exact same thing for Mark Winters. He's a fair guy. He'll treat you right. If you treat him right, don't get on the other side. Might not end well. Very similar to me. But I want to thank everybody. One of the most important things in my new role that I've been addressing with all the conference coordinators around the country and all the conference commissioners and as many coaches and athletic directors as I've been able to talk to is the ongoing unsportsmanlike conduct directed toward umpires. There's nowhere in the world that kind of language, the language that would end up as an ejection, there's nowhere in the world that's appropriate. Okay, if I walked into an athletic director's office tomorrow morning and said, hey, you blankety blank suck, I get fired, no questions asked. If you're a third base umpire and you walk over the shortstop after he booted the third routine ground ball of the game and you say, hey, you effing suck, you get fired. You'll never umpire again. So, a coach or a player gets a game. Some head coaches, fortunately in the GLVC, the head coach does get a game. In other leagues, the head coach doesn't get a game. And then they come back and they're able to do it again. So as long as you all take the high road, if you start cussing with them and one-on-one, I can't support that. Mark can't support that. Your conference commissioner can't support that. But if you take the high road and it's a good ejection, you'll have the full support of the NCAA, of me, of Mark, of the GLVC, and eventually we'll put a stop to it. I know for a fact the administrations pay their coaches to coach, not sit on a bus or sit in their office after they've been ejected. So, and as the season goes on, I'll be looking, I chart every single ejection. I'll be looking for common denominators, same coach over and over again. Well, if that happens, I'll call that coach's athletic director and we'll have a little discussion on that end. In the same respect, if there's one umpire on Mark's staff that has 6 or 7 ejections, Mark and I are probably going to have a discussion because that's a common denominator. So anyway, take the high road. You'll be better for it, and try to use the 3-step: acknowledge, warn, eject. Sometimes you got to skip the first 2 steps and go straight to the eject. I get it, but just be sure your ejection reports are 100% factual, no editorializing, no opinions, just 100% accurate, and go from there. And I want to challenge everybody. Obviously there's an umpire shortage. It hadn't affected us at the Division II level yet, but it will someday. Find somebody that should umpire or needs to umpire. Mentor that person. Let's get more people in the pipeline. I'm going to work with the coordinators around the country. We did it in the GLVC through the University of Indianapolis and Illinois Springfield. They had some student athletes that wanted an umpire in the summertime, and I think each one of those guys made $5 to 10 grand the last couple summers. We'll find guys places to work. It's going to be a work in progress, but it's another thing that I'm going to be working on to try to get more umpires in the pipeline. And we want good people. That's people that know me. That's pretty important. I want to tell everybody a really quick story, and I'm gonna get off because I don't want to drag this on. But it seems like most people want to get to the Division I level. Well, not everybody's going to get to the Division I level. I'm going to use a person I know pretty well as an example, myself. Back in my younger days, first it was the Big 8, then it was the Big 12. I knew I could work with those guys. In my heart and my mind, I could work in the Big 12. Well, as time went, the problem with that was the guy making the evaluation at the time didn't think I could. So what I thought didn't mean anything. So don't let that define you. It didn't define me. I became I split my time between junior college and Division II, and things turned out pretty good for me. So don't let that define you as a person or as an umpire. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a Division II umpire. Be the best Division II umpire you can be. And if Mark puts you on his watch list that I request from the coaches for possibility of postseason play, hey, you've achieved quite a bit right there. So, Mark, I'll take any questions, or if there's anything else you want me to hit on, I'd be happy to.
You did great, John. We're going to do questions. We're going to have them in a separate chat, and if there's any questions for you, I'll send them to you, and then I'll send them out to everybody, so we don't have to answer them tonight. That way, we just keep the meeting rolling. So,
one more thing, guys, I'm still available. I know many of you on this call have either called me or texted me or emailed me, in the past. There's no reason if you need to talk to me about something, that's fine. I'm not your boss, but I'm more than happy to help you in whatever way I can. You've got a really capable guy at the top now, and he will do a phenomenal job. So.
Okay, John, thanks a lot for everything. You can stay on, or you can go back and do what you were doing, whatever you want to do.
Okay, guys, thanks. And I hope everybody has a great season. And I think we're about 5 days away from first pitch. So I'll be evaluating umpires in Denver, Colorado on February 9th. So have a great season.
Thanks, John. Hey, Rick, are you on? Ben, do you know if Rick's on?
Yeah, Rick's here. He
Okay.
is using a different login. He's using your GLVC GRAC assigner link.
Okay. So
he's here.
Is he ready?
Yeah, he's ready.
Okay, Rick, it's your turn.
Hold on, I'm reaching out to him right now.
Okay. If you want, Donnie, you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah, I can go.
All right. Hey, Ben,
Yeah.
Donnie's going to go, and then when Rick's ready, we'll let Donnie finish, and then Rick can go after Donnie.
Okay.
All right. Your turn, Don.
Everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. I just want to reiterate what Fetch had mentioned, that CBOA has come a long way, and the archives of college baseball umpiring has progressed so far in 40 years since I've been a member. And so I just want to say that we have progressed college baseball to a new level and hopefully continue that. I just want to also say that Rick made a very good comment about your on and off field behavior. You think coming up to a game, nobody's watching, but I want you to it's unbelievable the amount of attention that we do get as officials, no matter what sport it is. So your behavior has to be good at all the time. So watch what you say, watch what you do, and watch the people around you. When you get out to your car or your locker room, even you still have to watch what you say and do, because a clubby may come in, hand you a towel, you may make an inappropriate comment, or you may make an inappropriate comment on the way to the locker room. So just what you say and do, because when you say or do something inappropriate, we cannot defend that. So always be careful. We have a thankless job. We don't want to give them any ammunition to come back on us because something we did that may work. You may work a great game, plate, base, whatever, and on the way to the locker room, you make an inappropriate comment, and you can just ruin everything you said or did. So just keep and tackle that. And if you're working with a couple guys, 2, 3 man, whatever it is, on the way, and he starts running his mouth, say, hey, cut it. Wait till we get to the locker room. So just take care of each other, because it's very important. Okay. I no longer assign Division I baseball anymore, but I did for a long time. And so I just want to let everybody understand this, that if you're working Division I baseball and you come down and work a Division III game or a junior college game or and this goes for Mark's League as well, Division II game or a NAI game, nobody really cares where you were at last weekend, but they do care about you being there today. So big timing NAI coaches, Division III coaches, or junior college coaches is not good. It's important that you go there and work as hard as you can. And if you don't want to do those games, don't do them, because everyone will notice when you show up and you act like you don't care. So always go there. And if you're going to take the game, do the best you can and work hard, and always be professional. Okay. Know the rules. And we're going to talk about this all year. Know the rules, enforce the rules as they're written, not as you want to do them. Okay. Ejection suspension reports. NAIA, there's a standard ejection and junior college is a standard ejection for every time a player or coach is ejected.
they have a 1-game suspension, or maybe a pitcher, maybe 4 games. So make sure you thoroughly fill out the ejection report. Be specific on language. If they F-bomb you or MFU or whatever you want to call it, we've heard it all, and you'll hear it. When you eject somebody, you may hear it all. Be specific on the language, on what people, on what that was said, because these reports go directly to the college president or maybe the college athletic director, and you can count that they're not going to be on the road games. So when they get this report back, they're going to say, "You really said this?" And yeah, well, I didn't think I said. I didn't think I F-bombed him 5 times. I only F-bombed him 4 times. So anyway, so be specific on this. If you need help on the field with documenting this stuff, make sure you do it well and do it properly. And make sure you do this and do it in a timely manner after the game. Always call your supervisor, whether it be Mark, whoever it is, whatever you're whatever league you're working in. Always contact your supervisor after the game. Give them your feedback, and in case there's some issues of what was said or whatever, make sure you do it properly to validate any ejections and suspensions. Be on time, behave all the time. If you're on a 2-day weekend in the GLVC, or you're in Sens and you got a 2-day weekend or whatever it is, NAIA and the AMC, where you're there overnight, make sure you be careful where you go and what you say and what you do, because you never know who's in town and they may see you do that. So always behave. Enforce sportsmanship. We continue, the NCAA and NAIA continue to have rules on unsporting behavior, but it's a rule, it's a point of emphasis every year, because we're not doing a really good job of enforcing it. So that's why it continues to be a point of emphasis. So take care of it. I don't know any supervisor that will not back you up. Mark Winters will back you up. I know John Brower will back you up. I know Fetch will back you up. So whatever level you're working, you will be supported if you enforce unsporting behavior. So please do it and help us clean up the game. Keep your calendars updated. I understand that everybody wants to move up. I have Division III NAIA and junior college, and I know everybody wants to go work the GLVC. They want to go work Division I, and I applaud that you should. I hope you get the opportunity to do that. But it's imperative that you keep your calendars updated, so that when we call or Mark calls or whatever, and Mark calls me, "Hey, can you let this guy go to help me out?" I said, "Let me see what I can do." Don't think that we don't talk. Mark and I and John, we're like best friends. We're 3 peas in a pod here. Okay. You're not going to get away with anything. You may slip by one here, a little bit here, a little bit there, but you're not going to you may get by with it once, but you're not going to get by with it 2 or 3 times. So be honest with you. If you have an opportunity, just say, "Hey, I got an opportunity to go work for Mark. Can I get off this game? And if I can help you advance, I will." Okay. So I want you to just understand, we want to help you get to the next level if that's where you want to go. If you don't want to go to the next level and you want to be, and I think John Brower mentioned earlier, that if you want to be a Division III umpire for the rest of your life and work the College World Series, I'm going to help you. And so will everybody else. So if you want to work the Junior College World Series, if you want to work the NAIA World Series, we're going to help you. But the thing is, if you can't crap on me and you can't crap on other supervisors, because the word's going to get around. So do things right, always be open and honest, because that will validate you as a good person and a good teammate, crewmate, or however you want to take it. So it's just very important that you do things right and do it right all the time. So that's all I really have to say. I hope it's kind of candid, but that's the way it is, and that's why I am. Anybody that knows me, if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you the right answer, straight shoot. So, and Mark will do the same thing. I know John Brower will, because he's been called the A word before, and he's sitting over there and he's laughing right now. So, but anyway, so just be honest with us. That's all we ask. Be honest with you, and we will always have your back. Mark, that's all I got to say.
Okay, thanks, Donnie. Well said. Listen, Rick is having some issues with his internet
Working
connection.
right now, Mark.
Is it working? You want to
Right
try
now,
and
we can try, but if we get, I've been in and out the whole meeting, so we can try
Okay.
if you're okay with that. Thanks, Donnie. Thanks,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, go ahead, Rick. If we lose you, then I'm going to take over and
That's
finish
fine.
my little thing, and then I think Rick said he could send it out on the.
Yep.
Okay, go.
Are you guys seeing the slides?
No, Rick, they're not out yet. They're not on yet. There they go.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Good. Okay. I do appreciate Mark and Ben putting this together too. Me down if I'm in and out or whatever. Do send those questions, even if all I'm able to do is send these out via email or whatever. However, Mark wants to get these slides out, that's fine. Send them out. I spent a lot of time on these. Yeah.
Rick, hold on a second. You're going to answer the questions, and I'm going to send them out on the way on RefQuest to everybody.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. And I want to encourage them to do that. I think that's a great format, and that gets us through this quickly. Cap. Wall padding signer, and I think you guys covered your rear end on that. So maybe put it in your game report. Did notice there's
Rick.
Wall padding, or you can even have a conversation at some point that's appropriate with some administration or the size of first, second, and third. Again, just to remind you. Yeah.
Rick, you're breaking up really bad. Let's just have you send
Can
that
you hear
out.
me?
You're off and on, man. Really bad. All right. Okay, guys, listen, I'm going to go ahead and do my part of this, and sorry about the connection with Rick. It's not a rules change year, so everything he was going to go over was basically just a refresher. We'll get that sent out to you guys through RefQuest and in a not a text, but in an email, and it'll be recorded, like Ben said. So we're going to move forward. I know it's a quarter till. I wanted to be done in an hour, so I think we can make that happen. First thing I want to tell you guys is I know the most important thing for most guys is pay, right? So pay in the GLVC is $225 a game this year. And on the weekends, it's 2 hotel rooms. Okay. Next year, I would like to take, say I did it, but John did it. It's $250 a game, and it's 2 hotel rooms next year. So that's what John proposed, and they okayed it after I took the job. So I think that's great. This year in the GRAC, single game still $150, but a double hitter went up to $260. In 2025, a single will be $160, a double will be $280. And in 2026, a single will be $170, and a double hitter will be $300. Okay, so I'm trying to help guys out and get more money for everybody. I think that's important, and that'll help get more umpires involved. All right, so I know I started out on the Arbiter with the GLVC. I moved to RefQuest because my JUCO league is on RefQuest, and it's going to make it easier for me and easier for everybody else down the road, I think, because everything is going to be going to RefQuest. So That's one reason why I did it. Okay. And the schedule is still going to be on Arbiter. So you'll be able to reference both. But for now, RefQuest is going to be the main thing. With that being said, please get a picture on RefQuest if you can. The coaches asked for that, and it helps me also, and it helps your partners know who they're working with. RefQuest will send out on Mondays reminders for the whole week. Please check and make sure everything is right on your end. And if there's something wrong, get a hold of me right away. All right. The best way to get a hold of me is obviously phone call or a text. But if it's something that you need me to know, please email me also, because the text sometimes gets lost because it gets pushed down after a lot of other text messages. So email is probably the best way to make sure I get the message. All right. Like Don said, please keep your schedules up to date. All right. Crew chiefs on weekends, contact schools. The crew chief will contact the school and contact the crew and confirm all game times, hotels, and all that stuff. All right. The crew chief will also set rotations. All right. So we all know they do 9 innings, 7, 7, 9. However, the crew chief wants to set the rotation. That's why they're the crew chief. That's what they're going to do. All right. After games, this goes for my JUCO league and the GLVC. When the game's over, please just send me a text, thumbs up. Everything's fine. I don't really need to know the score. Don't need to know all that. Just let me know if there's any issues. If you think a coach is going to call me, let me know that. Let me know what's going on, so I know before I get a phone call about something that might have happened. Ejections obviously need to be in within 24 hours of the game. Okay. Let me see here. I'm gonna have Ben Williams is gonna have a Zoom meeting, and I'm gonna try and get on as much as I can on Thursdays. Okay, a lot of times I'm traveling on Thursdays, so I won't be able to make it. But Ben will send out a link to it, and it's not mandatory. It's just something to get you guys in the rule book, questions answered, talk about things, talk about crazy plays, just kind of a fellowship type thing. Okay. Let me see what else I got here. Okay, we talked about postseason stuff. I'm in the process of trying to get one of my umpires in my GRAC conference every other year, perhaps being able to get to the Junior College World Series out in wherever it's held at. Donnie, where's that held?
Don's muted, Mark.
Grand
Don's
Junction,
muted.
Colorado.
Grand Junction is Colorado. So I'm in the process of trying to get one of my umpires to get out there every other year or every 3 years. So we'll see how that works out. I recommended Chris Dykeman this year. He hasn't heard back yet, but hopefully he will get that call. So that's pretty much all I got. Same things that Rich talked about, and John talked about, and Donnie talked about. I'm not going to go over all that more. Off the field stuff, be professional. It's a different world we live in. Like they said, everybody's got a camera. We're held to a higher standard than anybody else is. And just try and do the right thing. I've made mistakes. We all make mistakes. Just be honest, and we can get through it together as a staff. So that's pretty much all I have. I will be sending out messages through RefQuest. I will say this too. There's a lot of good, deserving umpires that probably didn't get as many games as they felt like they deserved. And I understand that. And it let me get through this year. Let me work out the bumps and all that kind of stuff, and figure out my staff. And, I'm trying to do the best for everybody. And sometimes you guys get, lost in the cracks or whatever that word is. So, just stay strong, stay with me, and we'll get through this together, and we'll all have a good year. So, communication is important. Let's stay in touch. Like I said, email, text, phone call, and that's pretty much all I have. I appreciate you guys being on the call, and we'll all have a great year.
Mark, there's one question for Don.
Okay.
Don, you're muted. The question is
Don,
from Blaine.
unmute.
And he wants to know if there is a change in rate of pay in the SLIAC, the AMC, the MWAC. Was there any pay rate change?
Donnie, unmute.
Yes, the pay is in the AMC is 170 for 9s and 150 for 7s. And the SLIAC is 160 for 9s and 140 for 7-inning games. That is like a $10 bump per game. So you get paid what you play is what you get paid for. So if you work 2 7s, depending on what it is, that's what it is. That's what the pay is. So if it's a 2 9s, you get in the AMC, you would get 340 doubleheader, and the SLIAC plays all 9-inning games for conference, so it would be 160 a game, so you get $320 for the doubleheader. And they do, and both leagues play 10-run rule after 7-inning games. Hope that answers your questions on that. So the Arrowhead is 225 for 2 7s. The MWAC is $230 for the doubleheader. It's a 7 and a 9, and they play 10-run rule on the 9s. They play 10-run rule on either, whether it's a 9 or a 7. So they play 10-run rule on all games. So if it's a 9-inning game and it's 10-run rule after 5, game is over. So I think that, other than that, I can't really think of anything else. The one other note is that the College of the Ozarks and Crowley's Ridge will be coming into the AMC next year in 2025. They'll be joining the league, and they are paying the AMC. If you go to Crowley's Ridge, the rate will be 170 and 150 at Crowley's Ridge this year. And of course, it'll obviously be a conference pay next year. So the AMC plays a 7 and a 9 and a single 9. So be like 310 for the 7 and 9, and then obviously 170 for the single 9 the next day, or whatever combination they make.
And Mark, there's one question from the live stream on YouTube. If we have a local guy on the crew less than 99 miles, will the team reduce the hotel rooms to 1 instead of 2?
No, John, are you still on?
John, you're muted.
Yeah, the only school that I ever had trouble with was Illinois Springfield, actually.
New coach now, though.
John Hastings drove 98 miles and had to buy his own hotel room, which I got reimbursed for him, but I don't know if they have the same athletic director or assistant athletic director or not, but that was kind of a bad deal. So, but for the most part, no, they'll stay with the 2 and 1, and every once in a while there'll be 3 hotel rooms, but never less than 2.
Yeah, and also real quick on that, the GLVC, as most of you guys know, the three man, except some non-conference schools, not very many, do 2-man. So, but anyway, we're working on all that. This is my first year, like we all know. So I'm gonna lean on John a lot to help me through some stuff, and then I'm gonna, try and help get 3-man on everything. And I know John tried that too and pushed for it. And anyway, Rick just sent me a text. Go ahead. Go ahead.
In the AMC, if you come in for a 3-game series, the Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, the AMC will provide a hotel room if you need to stay overnight. So if you come in, have a game on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, the AMC will provide a hotel room, 1 room for 2 umpires. So you have to bulk up if you're traveling together, but they will provide a hotel room they will provide 1 overnight in the AMC on a conference series.
Hey guys, also it should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If there's ever any issues with stuff like that, please contact me. Let me handle that instead of you guys fighting with an AD or a coach or saying something that's not your job to do. Get a hold of me and I'll do my best to get it right. Okay. So, Rick sent me a text. He really feels bad about his internet service being down. Most of you guys know Rick. He does a really good job with teaching the rules and stuff like that. I really wish it could have happened, but he'll get that sent out. Another little quick side note. This isn't college stuff, but I am going to be assigning that prospect league again in this area. If you're interested in working, let me know. Not tonight or not tomorrow, but later in the year. It's still going to be 2-man and it's going to pay $175 on that. So, and I'm going to put all the pay scales on RefQuest so you guys can see that. Most of it's on there already, but I'm going to go back and make sure everything's correct. So, Ben, we got any more questions?
No, we're good.
All right, guys, it is 7:59 and 45 seconds. So we kept it under an hour. Unless somebody has a question here in the next 10 seconds, I appreciate everybody. I know Donnie does. I appreciate Fetch and John and the commissioner being on. Hope this was beneficial for everybody. And get ready for the season because it's around the corner. So
We just got a question.
Okay.
Is there replay in the GLVC?
My understanding is if the schools have it, we will use it, but none of the schools have it. I know the MIAA, I believe, has it this year, or most of the schools have it, but I have not heard yet. John, go ahead. Take over.
UND has it, and they'll use it. And Quincy may have it. They were playing with it at one time, but I know Al at UND is going to use his. And the MIAA is doing a test program with 3 schools, Central Missouri, Pitt State, and Missouri Western. It's just going to be a test program, see if it works.
Okay. Guys, I've been getting some side text messages. This meeting was volunteer or not mandatory. I appreciate you guys being on it, but you don't need there's nothing to get a credit for it or anything like that. Just glad you're on it, and it will be recorded and put on the website. So if you do have a game where there is replay and you're not familiar with it, as a crew chief or somebody on the crew, just reach out to me or to somebody that you know that might have had it, and refresh it in the rule book or in the manual and all that stuff. So it's pretty easy. You can bring out your little cheat sheet card and so, and I'm sure that replay at the Division I level is really not even that good. So if they have it at one of our games or one of the games in the GLVC, it's probably not going to be that helpful, but at least we have it. And it's like Fetch said, it's trickling down. It's going to be here before we know it. So,
guys, one thing, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, but know what's replayable and what's not. You never know when you're going to get a call, and you might be a last-minute fill-in at Indiana State. When I was a coordinator, Mike Conlon would call me 12 hours before first pitch needing an umpire. So you never know. So know what's reviewable, know what's not, and then you're prepared for whatever.
Good point, John. Ben, any more questions?
None. We're good.
Okay. Ben, you want to say anything about Thursdays when you want to start doing that?
Yeah, I'll start after the first weekend. So we'll start that second week of the year. And then I'll send out an invite. It'll be through Google Meets. Because that's what I use for work and also what I use for setting up things like this. But then if you have plays and you have video and you want to clip it, that's fine. If not, you can send it to me and I'll clip it for you. We can talk about it. Also pass along other information if you're playing somewhere and somebody got ejected and because they bat tossed, giving everybody the heads up that's going there that next weekend is always a good thing too. So it's just about communication and opening lines and making sure we're all on the same page. And if you're in St. Louis the same weekend as me, we can go meet up as two crews and have dinner, that's also a positive too. So, but that's
good point, Ben. And we'll send that link to Donnie. You can send it out to your guys too. I'll share that. It doesn't have to be GLVC. It doesn't have to be GRAC. We're umpires. We're brothers. That's what we'll do. Okay. So, we'll share that link. And all right, that's it, guys. I think it was a good meeting. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay in touch if I can help with anything. I'm a open book, right? So lean on me. I'm here to help if I can. All right.
Thanks,
I'm
Mark.
out. Go ahead, Donnie.
No, I said thanks, man. Good job.
Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.